Hello everybody, so today we're going to talk about the IELTS Task 1 in the writing, and we are going to work on a summary paragraph. And the summary paragraph, first of all, let's just have a look on how exactly the overview goes, or how exactly we do the summary as a structure. Then we're going to have a sample in which we learn more how exactly we can do it. So let's get started. So as you can see, first, I just want to know, how do you think about it? Do you know how to summarize a paragraph? Do you know what is the structure that we follow? Just think with me. If you can, just write it down or just let me know. Just raise your hand or something. Okay. Yes, that's nice. Yeah, in the summary, we have a very long paragraph, or we have a picture, and we try to summarize what's in the information. So let's have a look here at the structure. First, we start with the introduction. In the question, you will find them asking you, here, as you can see, that's two maps, or here, as you can see, this is a picture. I just want you to summarize it. So first of all, we just take this and we just paraphrase it in the same first paragraph, or the first introductory sentence. Okay, the first two sentences, we usually write the same thing that is written in the question. Then we take it down to the general overview. And in the general overview, we give an overview about this trend, or this picture, or this map. After that, we start giving more details. And at the end, we start giving the comparison if there's something that we need to compare. Like if we have two maps, two pictures, two buys, anything that we need to make a comparison between them, we just let it in the end of the paragraph. Okay, so we go from the very general until the very specific, and then we give a concluding sentence, or a very fast conclusion. Okay, so as you can see in this one, that's a map of a city, hospital, and as you can see, it was like this in 2007, and then it has changed it totally, or there has been a very big dramatic change regarding this city hospital in 2010. As you can see here, we can read it together. The two maps below show road access to a city hospital in 2007 and 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. And be really careful about this one. Make comparison where relevant. So we'll need to make the comparison at the end of the paragraph. As you can see, I just want to know some questions, or I want you to think with me about these questions before we get started. The first one, oh, I'm sorry. The first one is going to be, here we have this one, that's a technical issue. All right, so as you can see, the first question, how would you start your paragraph? I just want you to think with me. You've got this question in the IELTS exam part 1 in the writing, and how would you think about it? How would you start your writing? Yes, definitely. We start first of all with a general idea, or the question as it's written. Here we have the two maps below show the road access. So we're going to do the same thing, but with different synonyms. For example, I would say these two pictures, or these two maps highlight, illustrate. You can use the same verb, which is show, but I don't really recommend it. You can use different synonyms, okay? So that you make sure that you are speaking about this, you're giving a general idea, and then you deliver more. You may ask me, so in the question it's already written, why do I need to do it one more time? And a simple answer is that what we do, it's not only an exam in the IELTS, it's just because we need, when we read this kind of paragraph without even looking at this map, to understand what you're trying to explain. Okay, because the IELTS exam is totally about how you communicate, how you are proficient in using the language to deliver an idea that people can see, so they can understand your thoughts. So as you can see here from this one, we have the picture in 2007 and the change in 2010. I want to ask you a question. How would you do that? What is the structure that you will follow? I can't hear your answer. Yes, that's definitely perfect. We're going to start with this general idea, that is just paraphrasing this part. Then we're going to give the general overview about the change from 2007 till 2010. And always remember, the dramatical change. The dramatical change, or like the dramatic change, is a change totally in the picture or in the map. For example, what you see here is a very big change. If we look here at the city hospital, it's the same. Alright? The ring road, also the same. But you see here is the change. So we're going to highlight this dramatic change, this very big general change that has taken place on the map. So we're going to say, okay, so there has been a change in the staff car park. It was first of all a car park for the public. Right now, it is just for the staff. Here, there has been a bus station, which hasn't been even in the first part. So these are very big major changes that took place. Let's have a look at this question, and that's a very important question. That's a very, very critical question. Which tense do you think you can use in this paragraph? I just want you to take a second, try to have a look again at the question, try to have a look again at the changes, and think about this question. Which tense would you prefer? Yes, I think you have thought about it and you would have in mind different tenses. For example, the present simple tense, the past tense, or what we say, the past perfect tense. And I would highly recommend, even though it's not a 100% answer, but I would highly recommend we use the past perfect tense. You may ask me why, but because as you can see here, these changes cannot happen in just one day or just 1 year. Like I can't tell you, we slept at 2007 and at 2010 we found out these changes, or we made these changes once. Okay, but we started with the bus station. Then we made the change here. Then we made the change here. So maybe something took place in 2008. Something else took place in 2009. Then the last thing took place in 2010. That's why we'd say that's a major change that took place throughout the years. That's why we'll use better the present perfect tense, not the past perfect tense. Okay, so that we are saying that something happened throughout a period of time. Okay, that's one thing that is really worth mentioning. Let's right now have a look at one of the examples, one of the sample answers. Okay, so as you can see this one, I'm going to give you just 1 minute. You can start reading this board. I hope you can see it very well. Okay, right now I'm going to read it from my end here. We are going to read it together, then we will just do a kind of analysis on it. So the following maps illustrate the entering road of the hospital in the 3-year period of time from 2007 to 2010. Here we have this part and this part. As we did, the first part is, we're just paraphrasing. Let's have a look at the second one. Looking from an overall perspective, it is readily apparent that urban hospitals became more comfortable to access and developed over the years. The most noticeable change was the bus station and parking lots. As you can see in this part, we start having an overall perspective. Okay? Usually we use these sentences and they are so fine. Some people will tell you don't use these introductory phrases, but they are very good if you are targeting until score band 7 or score band 8, which is you can start with it's so obvious, it is extremely obvious, it's readily apparent, it is clear that all these sentences are really fine to use regarding your first paragraph or your task 1 paragraph. In addition to this, as you can see here, it just talked about the noticeable change that took place regarding the bus station, and we highlighted this one, the bus station, in addition to the parking lot, which has been under major changes. Let's have a look at the second one, and this word is super important, according to. According to this phrase, we usually use it in order to deliver information that is already apparent or that we are already using from a certain resource. Regarding this one, it's going to be the map itself. I will give you just a moment. You can read this one before I start explaining this one. Okay, according to the figure in 2007, there was a car park for the staff and public, which was eliminated, and a bigger one was added in the northern east side of the given data. The other one evacuated to just below the hospital. In the southern west side, the bus stop was 6 in 2007, which was uninstalled in 2010. As you can see here in this one writing, it was written in the past tense, which is totally fine. As I said, still it has been better, or it would have been better if we would just use the present perfect tense rather than this one. Still, this one is totally fine, and as you can see, this one got 7.5 in the IELTS exam, or the examiners will rate it at 7.5, which is a very fine score. Let's have a look at the the concluding part. As for remaining, the road was completely changed, and the traveling system to access two roads were installed on the middle side of the map. Let me ask you a question here. What are the verbs that have been used throughout this one? Yes, let's highlight them together. I would say illustrate. What else? Yes, you can say became. Yes, eliminated, even though that's in the passive. Evacuated, but evacuated is not going to be, it's going to be a verb that has been used. Yes. What else? Was uninstalled. Okay. And was completely changed. Alright, so we have these verbs, which are simple verbs. Still, they've got 7.5 because the overall structure is following the same structure that we have talked about. Yet, I want you to start or to focus on using more vocabulary. For example, can you give me another synonym for the word, yes, here, eliminated. Yes, that's a perfect synonym. We can say eliminated or removed or clear. So what about evacuated? Do you know the meaning of evacuated? Yes, evacuated is to get people out of a place or to get something out of a place. Let's have a look at this one also, completely changed. You can say it is completely modified, or it was completely removed, it was completely adjusted. All these verbs would work with changed. I want you also to try to pay attention to the transitions. So, can you highlight some of the transitions that have been used throughout this one? Yes, definitely. We have here looking from an overall perspective. That's a good transition that helps you to deliver your ideas. What else? We'd say according to. Yes. As for remaining. Yes. Perfect. As you can see, these are simple transitions. You can add more in case they are needed or they are necessary. Don't try to overuse transitions because sometimes it sounds so much repetitive or so much made up. It's not natural. And in the IELTS exam, in addition to being able to deliver your ideas fluently, you need to make sure you're not redundant. In the IELTS exam, it's not appreciated to be redundant. Okay, let's have a look at another thing, which is the adverbs. Do you see any adverbs being used here? We have here readily. Yeah. What else? completely. Yes. Okay. I think, yeah, there is simple usage of adverbs. I wouldn't really recommend that kind of very little number of adverbs. If you can use adverbs more, that will be really good. In case you would say more comfortable, you can say it is very comfortable, or you can say it is slightly comfortable. Using adverbs helps you to add more meaning to the words you're using, especially the adverbs, the adjectives and the verbs. Okay, what else? Yes, that's it for the adverbs. Let's have a look at the adjectives. And yes, I highlighted comfortable, apparent. Yes, what else? Noticeable, that's the most noticeable. And using adjectives is so much important in the IELTS Part One. In addition to this, let me see. Yeah, we can use, like there is a kind of limited usage when it comes to the adjectives as well. I would encourage you to add more adjectives, like dramatic change. There has been a slight change. You can also add more adjectives, like it has been a wide major adjustment to the place. Things like this add more meaning to your first essay. Okay, let's right now have a look at another one. This one is a higher score. I think that would be given 8. Let's read it together. If you just mind, I will pause it for 1 minute. You can start reading, then we can do the activity together. Okay, so as you can see, it followed the same structure. We start with the general idea, we start with the same idea given in the text or in the question. Then we give the general idea, we give more details and more details or comparison. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Okay, a lot of sorries. Yes, additionally, here we're given more information regarding the two ones. Let's read it together first. The maps illustrate alterations in the road access infrastructure to a city hospital between 2007 and 2010. As you can see here, the word alterations, which means change. So that's why I'm saying that's a better kind of score. Not because of usage of the word alteration, but because also the word alteration is a very accurate word. Because sometimes you may try to use a synonym that is not really delivering the same meaning. So you need to pay attention to this part. In addition to the word infrastructure, which means the structure of the place, but the word infrastructure is more advanced and is delivering a better understanding of how exactly they changed not only the appearance, but also the infrastructure of the place. Let's have a look at the second part. Overall, the maps depict significant changes in transportation facilities around the hospital during the aforementioned years, including the introduction of a bus station, relocation of staff car park, and the addition of a roundabout on city road. As you can see here, we have more usage of some adjectives like the word significant. We have more explanation of everything regarding the place itself. The general idea is really delivering the same thing, but I would really appreciate the usage of the present simple instead of the past simple that has been taken that has been under the focus for the previous example. Yet I'm still on my idea that it's better, or it would have been better that we have used the present perfect tense, which uses have or has and the past participial of the verb. Let's have a look here at the third one. A meticulous analysis of the maps showed the removal of 3 bus stops on Hospital Road in 2010 with the replacement of a bus station on the western side. To facilitate access to this station, 2 roundabouts were constructed, one on the City Road and Hospital Road junction, and the other at the end of hospital road, leading to the hospital ring. And I really extremely appreciate the highlight of this one, the roundabout, because it hasn't been mentioned in the first one. As you can see here, the roundabout, where it is, yeah, we have two roundabouts were constructed in order to facilitate the access, in order to make it easy to access it. Let's have a look at the last one. Additionally, alterations were made to the parking arrangements. Initially, a single park on the east side of Hospital Road served both staff and visitors. However, by 2010, a separate car park for staff was created on the south side of the hospital, while the original one on the west side was reserved for public parking. So also in this one, it's really important and worth mentioning that the usage here of the separate park, or separating the car park from the public, while here it has been changed. In the previous one, it wasn't really mentioned. So this means they are more curious about details. They are telling more details. They are definitely and extremely describing every single thing in this part. So that's why that's a better one. Okay, let's have a look here at some of the linguistic elements that we can take advantage of, or that we can use ourselves in our writing. So yeah, first of all, let me ask you the question: what verbs you can use in your writing from these verbs? Perfect. That's perfect verb. Depict. And depict is like to show. Okay? Where else? I just fall in love in this one. Yeah. Shows is very simple, but still, it's good because it's not really appreciated if you would use illustrate 2 times. You can use highlight, shows, it is appearing. All these are better than using the same word twice in the IELTS exam. Yeah, facilitate, which makes something easy, okay, to facilitate access, to make access easy to the individuals. What else? Yes. Yeah, and this one, although in the passive, which is was created. And the verb create is to make something, like constructed also, which has been used here. Constructed, which is more related to construction. So that's why I really like this one, because it is using words that are related to this field, not only words that are general. Okay? Let's have a look at another linguistic aspect. So here, don't forget the verb facilitate, to make easy, constructed, create, and depict. Okay, and let's continue right now with the transitions. Let's have a look here at the transitions in this part. As you can see, first of all, we have this one. And that one is so important. Sometimes we say in general, overall, as an overview, and then we start giving the introduction about what are the major changes. As you can see here, the significance is in transportation facilities around the hospital and during the aforementioned years. In the second part here, there is this one, and that one is considered a slight transition, which we use in order to deliver an understanding of this passage, and also it makes it a bit more beautiful to start with a prepositional phrase. We call this a prepositional phrase, and a prepositional phrase, a very slight understanding of it is you start with the preposition, like for, or to, or as, for example. Okay, then you give the phrase, then you give the main phrase. If you'd like to understand the meaning of this one in the general English, which we start with the subject, then the verb, then the object, like I play football or I study English. So we'd have a look at it like this. We start from here. 2 roundabouts were constructed, and then to facilitate access to this station. Okay, so that's how exactly we write in simple English. We start with the subject, the verb, and the object. Then we put the prepositional phrase at the end. But When we want to make it a bit like, unusual, or like, a bit like, catchy to the eyes, or to make it a bit advanced, we do it like this. We start with the prepositional phrase, then we give the rest of the sentence. Let's have a look here at this one also. As you can see here, this additionally is a very good transition that we can use. I would say, yeah, that's a perfect choice of transitions. Like we have used here 3 for 3 paragraphs, or like 3 small paragraphs. So that's really good usage of the transitions. I would recommend, yeah, like using from 3 to 5 for a simple paragraph like this one. And right now let's have a look at the adverbs. And the problem with the adverbs is that, like, the writer has used many words that are describing rather than, like, the adverbs. For example, like, when you use the extreme verb, or like, the advanced verbs that delivers a very specific meaning, sometimes there is no need to use the adverb. For example, we have the word depict significant changes. So you can say accurately depict significant changes. It's still like the word depict, it's like, to make a picture. So it is really imaginative, or like it's a word that gives a better understanding of like, how exactly it looks like. That's why it's not needed to add more adverbs in this one. Also, as you can see here, the usage of the adjectives. So that's why it made it really difficult to use also adverbs additional to this one. But like you can use, and I would really recommend using even, like, if 2 or 3 adverbs. Sometimes we consider additionally as an adverb. Okay, but it's not like, a very perfect usage of the adverb, or like, it's not like, the usual usage that we do for describing a verb, or like modifying a verb, as we can say. Yes, that's when it comes to the adverb. Let's have a look at the adjectives, which was really brilliant. As you can see here, we have significant. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yes, we have significant. We have aforementioned, which means something has been mentioned before. We have meticulous. That's a very perfect one. That's like, a part of the adjectives that were used in this one. And as you can see, yeah, there are not so many adjectives, but they are so advanced and they are delivering the meaning intent. That's why this one is of a high score. There has been a very good usage of the adverbs. There has been good usage of also the transition words. Everything is just smooth and natural, and that's really, really needed when you talk about the IELTS Part 1. Okay, just to make sure about the homework, I'm going to assign you like, a summary paragraph. It's going to be similar to this one, and you will need to submit it by Friday. So make sure, guys, that you deliver it on time. Okay, you deliver it before the deadline, so that we're making sure we are progressing. And that's what the IELTS is about. It's about dedication, hard work, and also being time bounded. It's not about doing the tasks after time, but it's about just following step by step during the time frame, so that we can achieve the score intended in a very good period of time. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you understood everything. Have a great day. Bye-bye.